Hey there, and welcome to our Choosing a Hosted Exchange Provider webinar. My name is James Van Landingham, and I represent a company called SAIBR. We are the leader in officeless communication solutions. So let's talk about Microsoft Exchange as a hosted solution. You hear a lot about the sacrifices companies have to make to switch to a cloud solution. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can get a fully functional Microsoft Exchange hosted solution. It's completely secure, completely redundant, and in most cases about 80% cheaper than installing it and managing it yourself. This webinar assumes that you have already made the decision to move to a hosted solution, but you just need a clear view of the considerations behind selecting a provider. So we're not going to talk about the other hosted options like Google or Rackspace, as the intent here is to cover functional business solutions. To see why those options fall outside of what we consider a functional solution, you can go to our website at SAIBR.com. So let's talk about the questions that your company needs to answer before pulling the trigger on a hosted Exchange solution. Regardless of whether you choose SAIBR as your hosted solution provider or not, this presentation will give you the practical approach that you need to compare the alternatives and find a solutions provider that best meets your company's needs. The decision to look at a hosted solution was just your first step. Now you're confronted with a myriad of hosted Exchange solution providers. So how do you choose between them? Well, if price were the only differentiator, you would go with some free or low-cost option and call it a day. But you're a business. So let's assume that you would like a fully functional Exchange environment with all the bells and whistles, fully supported and maintained for less than the cost of an on-premise solution. To choose the provider that's right for your organization, you need to compare them in the areas of infrastructure, ease of migration, control over the environment, and support. Comparing them in these four areas will allow you to weed out the providers that do not meet your company's needs and identify the ones that represent the best value for your organization. So let's begin with infrastructure. The infrastructure on which the provider offers its services is core to their ability to meet or exceed your service expectations. So be sure to look under the hood and really understand the infrastructure behind the provider's service. Here are a few things to think about. Where are their data centers, at least in relation to your users? Proximity to users is not something that we often think about, but in trying to control the round-trip time that the emails have to travel, it's a consideration. So how far does your data need to travel? If you're here and your data is in a whole different place, it's not a whole lot of time, but it's something to think about. Also, how many data centers do they run? What happens if something goes wrong? Hardware failures, natural disasters, terrorism? What is a reasonable downtime? An hour? A day? You know, 99% uptime allows for 3.6 days of downtime a year. How about 99.9? Or even 99.999? You get the point. Another thing to consider is data replication. How much time it takes to replicate data from one data center to another. Are they backing up nightly? Is it happening simultaneously? Also, service level agreements. Do they offer them? Do they guarantee that you're going to be up a certain amount of time and that your data is going to be available again should something happen? So let's talk about migrations. It's the hidden monster of every IT project. Here's a few things to look for. Is there a team assigned to guide you through the migration process? Is the migration support telephone, email? Am I going to have to check a knowledge base? Are there available automated migration tools to move email, import Active Directory, things of that sort? Getting your users transitioned from one system to another is very intricate and can be very time consuming, so make sure that you have that covered. The other thing is, what is the average per machine time to complete the migration? Can I choose who gets to go first, who gets migrated second? Can we do all of them simultaneously, or do we have to do them one at a time? So there's a lot of considerations on the migration and getting all of your users over to the new environment. Also, is your provider offering the most current versions of Exchange, Outlook, or any of the other programs that they offer? Many of the problems with a hosted solution have to do with either control or lack thereof, or the loss of connectivity to the local environment. So a few things to keep in mind are, do they offer an online portal to add or delete users or provision services like mailboxes or Blackberries or distribution lists? Can you delegate administrative tasks to less technical staff now that you're on a hosted solution? Do the users have the ability to control their own preferences or settings? And is your on-premises Active Directory synchronization able to run alongside the provider's services? That's something to keep in mind. Do all of the services that they offer have the same level of administrative control that you get with an on-premise solution? Controlling Exchange, controlling Microsoft Communications Server, or SharePoint, or ActiveSync, or BlackBerry Server, even your spam and email settings need to be seamless. You need to be able to control them at the same level that you can in your own organization. Lastly, and perhaps most important, if you don't control the environment, how do you know that they're really being responsible? What type of audits do the providers conduct of their own data centers and operations? SAS compliancy is one good way to tell that. Let's talk support. Who's doing it? How large is the support staff? How many of their technicians are actually certified in the products that you're going to use? How long is it going to take you or your users to actually speak to an expert? A minute? 10 minutes? What about after-hours support? Do they offer true 24/7 by 365 telephone support? How forthcoming have they been about past outages and downtime statistics? Will all of the users be supported or just select company contacts? What languages are they going to support? So now that we've covered those, let's see how SAIBR stacks up. In regards to infrastructure, our premium architecture guarantees a 99.999% uptime. Regular backups and real-time replication. 5 Tier 4 data centers, 2 in the US, 1 in the UK, and 2 in Japan. The equipment that we use is EMC, Dell, Cisco, all top-of-the-line equipment. The location of our data centers ensures email as fast as possible round trip. In the area of migration, we've made migration easy. We have Active Directory data imports that take less than an hour. It includes each user's entire mailbox, calendar, task, and contacts, and dedicated teams for migrations over 50 users. In terms of control, our system provides the same level of access that you would have with an on-premise solution, plus easy administrative tasks that you can delegate to non-technical staff. It includes sync on-premises and access to the latest applications. Our support is 24/7 by 365 days a year, and every user is supported directly. Again, comparing the service providers in these 4 areas will allow you to weed out the ones that don't meet your company's needs and identify which providers represent the best value for your organization. So what's included? You get between 5 and 25 gigs of space per mailbox. You get 24/7 by 365 day a year world-class support, and by world-class we mean that I'm not the one answering the phone. You get Exchange 2010, Outlook Web Access 2010, Premium Antivirus and Anti-Spam, plus a 99.999% backed up uptime service level agreement. Some additional add-ons are Outlook 2010 for PC or Mac, BlackBerry Enterprise Server, ActiveSync for the iPhone, a PST Manager, which will help with migrations, hosted Office Communication Server 2007, SharePoint Foundation 2010, and email compliance options, which include encrypted messages, archiving, and message mirror. SAIBR has been providing web-based solutions to companies since 1996, so we're not new to this. We have offices in Honolulu, Cheyenne, and Tokyo. We use all the best equipment, and we only use Tier 4 data centers, and in fact we use 5 of them: East Coast, West Coast, UK, and Japan. I'd like to thank you all for watching our Choosing a Hosted Exchange Provider webinar. We appreciate it. You can go to SAIBR.com if you have any other questions. That's SAIBR.com. You can also send an email to sales@SAIBR.com or call us at 888-99-SAIBR, SAIBR. Thanks again.